Okay, round 2 with the Epidemic. This body that's on this truck, I still can't figure out where it came from, but I can narrow it down to one of the red cats. Yeah, one of the red cat 1/8 scale cars. And that's about it. But who cares about that? Let's talk ESCs. Yeah, so this thing has the BLX 185 in it, which is a pretty much a clone of the Hobby Wing HW 150 WP, supposedly waterproof. Now, a waterproof ESC can still get water in it, which is bad. So they put the ESC, which is pretty much just a PCB that has MOSFETs and controller adapters and capacitors on it. They put that in a little plastic box, fill the plastic box with epoxy and call it a day. They put a heat sink on it to try to keep it cool. But that heat sink is still on top of the epoxy. Now, as for the waterproofness of the ESC, all the parts that can be exposed to water, the part of the PCB that has capacitors on it, can't actually be covered in epoxy, obviously. Mainly because that part of the board also has the connectors on it. So the ESC, they pretty much have a typical wireless ESC. The typical brushless ESC has the 3 cords for the motor and the 2 cords for the power coming out of it. The 2 cords for the power goes through the PCB board, through the controllers and the MOSFETs, and that power is regulated to the capacitors, which store the power. And then every time you pull the trigger, the MOSFETs that control the power distribution releases the power from the capacitors. And that goes straight to the lines, controlling the motor. So, okay, now we got some stoppage here, which isn't good. Oh boy. So usually what happens when an ESC smokes is either the capacitors pop or the MOSFETs pop. Each of those can overheat. The MOSFETs can usually get wet, which is very much a recipe for disaster. And it is what it is. So let's see what's going on here. Looks like we actually got the damn thing overheat. Yeah, it's actually overheat. Oh boy. Yeah, the fan that I put on it is the the big fan, the big 40mm fan, but I only got it running on the 6 volts out of the ESC, which is not good enough. I mean, it can definitely run off of that, the fan, but it's not spinning fast enough to get the good old ESC running, which is sad. Okay, Mr. Truck. So it looks like I'm gonna have to go on and hook you up to a 3-cell battery, which I don't really like doing that much, because that's an extra battery and all that trash. The more batteries in the car, the more stuff can go wrong with those batteries, which really sucks. And running it off of this balance cable right here for 3S is not a good thing to do, because that'll drain 3 cells while 1 cell is sitting up there wondering what the hell is going on with the other 3. What a mess. Yeah, running in this stuff, it's pretty bad. Ugh. And with it being 50 out here, it can actually overheat, which sucks. And then on top of that, the battery is only half charged. Well, I think it's more than half charged. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. I'm not about the purpose of getting out the CSC just for shits and giggles. Even though it's old as heck, I still just wanted to go on and kill itself rather than me kill it by being stupid. Yeah, but literally, I want to say a good 90% of the trucks that I had that the ESC smoked, it was always the capacitors that popped first. I only had a few that the actual MOSFETs that supplied the power to the capacitor actually went. Now those causes, well, both can cause fire, but usually the capacitor will pop first and that'll start smoking. Fires come from the inside, where if the MOSFET pops, the pressure from the epoxy, no, the actual epoxy that's sealing in the pop MOSFET pressurizes the whole damn thing, and it just, yeah, it ends up blowing up. I actually had that happen to a VLX 180, the red ESC, and that was so bad that it literally blew a hole in the ESC right where the MOSFET was. So the pressure that the epoxy is on that ESC really doing nothing. Yeah, so in the meantime, I'm gonna go on and try to hook a 3-cell battery to this mess. Something that I really didn't want to do, because it's just another battery in the damn truck to do what the damn truck wants to do with it, and that's pretty much messed the battery up. Okay, so I'll go in and get that battery on here.